Have you ever experienced or ever thought as to how you would feel if you knew your life was in imminent danger and that you may never live to see your friends or family ever again? The fear of leaving the ones you love behind? How would your family manage? I have been enlisted in the United States Air Force for over 10 years now, and have been deployed 8 times. All my deployments were to the Middle East and included Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, and Qatar, all for various durations ranging between 3 and 9 months. Out of the 8 times I was deployed, I went to Iraq 5 times. Of the 5 times I was deployed, 2 of which I was assigned to convoys and trucked throughout the desert of Iraq. Today I will share with the class the feelings I felt, the things I saw, and the events that occurred while I was deployed to my first convoy in Iraq. When I was stationed in England at RAF Mildenhall, my primary duty was as a vehicle mechanic for the United States Air Force. At the time I received the orders to deploy to Iraq for convoy duty. The superintendent at the time called myself and one of my troops into his office where we would receive the news, the great news. We were going to deploy to Iraq to support a convoy mission within an Army unit based out of Baghdad International Airport for 6 months. After 3 months of CST training, combat skills training in Kuwait prior to the deployment. My troop and I were to fill convoy positions as vehicle mechanics to provide maintenance on Humvees and several other M-Series vehicles, military series vehicles, for Army convoys. Combat skill trainings is where my troop and I went first in order to qualify on the several different weapons and to receive the proper military training required for a combat environment. Being in Air Force, we don't receive that kind of training, so I was full of excitement with the opportunity to go on my first convoy with the Army. What I wasn't prepared for was the fact that my troop and I had to leave in 72 hours. Not enough time. When you think about it. After getting my gear together and spending the last few days with my family, that 72 hours came quick, and I was off to Kuwait for combat skills training. After arriving to Kuwait, the games began. This was the start of an intense combat training led by all branches of the service, Army, Air Force, and Marines. Also, our Navy had a small part of it. Love you guys. But our days consisted of 16 hours of classroom, field, and performance training 6 days a week for 3 months. My favorite part of CST was qualifying all the different toys that we got to play with. You know, the weapons we don't usually get to play with in the United States Air Force because we're desk jockeys and all, you know, like the 50 cal machine gun and the Mark 19 grenade launcher. I also learned several emergency convoy procedures and maneuvers I was hoping I would never ever have to use in my deployment. So after receiving training to participate in convoys and manage our combat environment, off we go to Iraq. We arrive at Baghdad International Airport, and find out that my troop and I are assigned to the 1st Cav Division, 1st Cavalry Division with the Army, for 6 months. I knew from then on this was going to be an experience of a lifetime, and it surely was. We started our convoy shortly after our arrival to Bayat, which consisted between 26 vehicles, trucks, that my troop and I were solely responsible of maintaining. Yeah, just the 2 of us. Trips lasting anywhere between 6 hours to 3 days in the desert. I was able to witness some of the most beautiful scenes while I was assigned as a gunner in a Humvee turret. Not only was I a mechanic, but I was a gunner in a turret as well. Lucky me. I was able to see ancient ruins of Babylon, ziggurats. Same thing as pyramids in Egypt, of course. Wildlife and ancient civilizations that don't even exist anymore to us people. During the 6 months of convoys, there were several close calls with roadside bombs, attempted ambushes, and several other life-threatening events that just even give me the chills to even think about. Our convoy was attacked on several occasions. Unfortunately, we lost one female, E3, A1C, hasn't even had the chance to experience the Air Force yet, from a roadside bomb to her carotid artery. Some shrapnel hit her artery, and it was a mess, leaving her to bleed to death in front of my eyes and several other people's. She was only 22 years old and had one child and a husband she left behind. Several soldiers had suffered from shrapnel wounds. My troop had a rocket hit his truck and almost started a fire to all his belongings. Sorry, the networking stuff's getting to my head. Luckily, the rocket malfunctioned and did not explode. I myself came very close to getting shrapnel wounds, but I was very fortunate to get out of there unscathed. After 6 months of life-threatening experience and sightseeing, I was coming home, thank God. I'm glad I was able to witness the things I did while on convoy duty. I love the different scenery and the archaeological sites of ancient Babylon. Not too many people will be able to see those kind of things in their lifetime. The fact that I was inches away from losing my life and leaving everyone I love behind was a horrifying experience, and I won't ever want to experience that ever again. Seeing someone die right before your very eyes is horrible. Every day I was on convoys, I feared would be the last day of my life.